Alright, well, I'm doing another one. I'm on a roll today. This one is sort of going back to my video about, I said, why do all women suck? Where I complain about women being materialist and shallow and this and that. I've already made response videos to that, saying where, men have their own problems on that front, but I wanted to make another video saying that I guess I have come to more of an understanding as to why women are materialists. Because if you're a materialist woman, or if you're looking for a guy who has money and resources, then you don't have to work as hard as a woman. You can, no matter what happens in life, you have flexibility. If, things go bad in your own career for whatever reason, you can rely on the man with money. Now, this is pretty obvious. A lot of girls go for guys with money because they want to be comfortable and they want to live a nice lifestyle. They want to eat the best food. They want to travel. They want to have a nice car to ride in. And, can you blame them? Can you really blame them? How many men would take that option? It's just annoying, really. It's annoying to a lot of men, I think, because we can't do that, or we can't do it easily. Women, if they're beautiful, can marry a high-status man who's got money and is also attractive and is, has a lot of ambition as an alpha male. If you're a beautiful woman, you can shack up with an alpha male and reap all the benefits of his ambition and hard work. But if you're a guy, the only people we can shack up with that have money are women who are a lot older than us and are looking for a gigolo type situation. And, this is extremely hard to find. And the women we're getting together with are not particularly, they might be, cougar-y types, or they might be, older women who aren't completely unattractive. But, to us, the older women that we can shack up with for money are not going to be nearly as enticing as the men that beautiful women can shack up with for money. And, I guess it's a lot harder, obviously, for men to find that situation, I think, than for women to find that situation. Because men generally go after women. Women don't usually go after men. At least not. They're not very aggressive. They don't often approach men. And women also aren't as shallow as men. They don't go after men who are good-looking just because they're good-looking most of the time. Women appreciate men who are more alpha male-ish, and guys who are poor but good-looking, they might have a shot with some, wealthy women, but it's definitely not as easy as being a beautiful girl and having men just constantly trying to get your attention and trying to, buy you things to keep you around and to get you in bed. So, really, a lot of it comes down to jealousy, It's easy to be jealous of beautiful women because they have a lot of options. They don't have to do a lot to get what they want in the world. They just have to keep themselves looking good. So, that's part of it. And, I understand why women don't want to be with poor men. Because we have low self-confidence. Because we don't earn a lot of money, society doesn't praise us. And we're made to feel like we're unimportant. We have to, our living situations or, either our places aren't as nice, we might be sharing a small room. We're not always going to be able to eat out at the best place. We're not going to be able to travel a lot. We might be living with our parents. There's lots of drawbacks to being with a guy who's poor. And I guess I'm saying, I can't blame women for wanting to be in nicer surroundings, or to, have more opportunities to enjoy their life, because it's hard to enjoy your life when you're poor. Most people realize that. Now, that's not to say that you can't find love. Two poor people can't find love together, and they can't struggle together and help each other through the hard times together. But, I'm sure there are a lot of women who aren't shallow, and they're fine with that idea. But Certainly they're fewer and farther between, and most of the women who are like that, aren't going to be particularly wealthy. Or aren't going to be particularly beautiful and wealthy, especially, but they're not going to be, a lot of the women who are going to settle for a guy who isn't as ambitious and isn't as much of an alpha male are not going to be as attractive because they figure, well, the men don't offer as much, so I don't have to offer as much. And the other thing about that is, well, first let me just say that, another reason why, low status men have a hard time is even women who are successful, a lot of times they want to be with other men who are successful because they think, well, not only am I good looking, or women who are beautiful and successful especially, they think, I'm beautiful, I'm successful, I've got my life together, everything's going well, so I want to be with a guy who's also got his life together and is also good looking, and I guess if they've worked for it and they're hot shit, then I guess that if they can get it, why not, right? I mean, I think there are consequences that come with that. I think a lot of guys who are good looking and have their shit together and are alpha male types aren't really going to be as faithful in general. But most women think that they can get one of these alpha male types who is ambitious and faithful to settle down. And sometimes they do. Sometimes they will change their ways because they love a woman enough. Probably not that often. I'm sure a lot of these guys cheat. And certainly women would be safer as far as infidelity is concerned if they go with guys like me, who are a little more loyal but not as ambitious and not as successful. But I understand why they want to try. It's only natural. It's biological. They want to go after the men who can provide for their children the best and provide for them the best. They want to live a good life. And in an ideal world, we would only see each other for our inner beauty, and by inner beauty I mean mostly our ethical considerations, how moral we are, how loving we are, how giving we are. Or maybe not giving isn't the right word, because I'm sure rich men are giving, but more how much as opposed to giving from a material perspective. I'm talking about giving from an emotional perspective. So I think there are drawbacks to the rich men also, but if you can find a rich man who's emotionally giving and materially giving, and you've got it all, and why would you want anything else? But those men are extremely hard to find. And, I don't know, if I was a woman, it was a good-looking younger woman, I'd probably go for the same thing. I'd probably try to find Mr. Perfect. But I think a lot of women end up, waiting till they're older before they realize that, it's that, or maybe they wait till they're older because they're unlucky. They didn't find Mr. Perfect. They found a lot of guys who used them and abused them and then left. Or maybe just used them, not abused them. But they found a lot of alpha males who had a lot of options, and, they didn't think that girl was their best option, or they just got bored. And, they could save themselves some pain, but some women are going to be successful. Some of these trophy wives might find a man who's successful and is faithful. To those women, I can understand why you do what you do. You want everything. We all want everything. Now, if I could get a beautiful woman who was, attractive, young, and wealthy, I would take it, and loving, and giving. We all would love to have that, but as you get older, I'm sure, that's really impossible for men, but it's not so impossible for women, because just by looking good, you can... Women who look good, we men, we fall for it, That's the biggest thing we need, If we're physically attracted to you, then we're willing to overlook a lot, I think. And that's why we are shallower than women. It's true. But the whole other thing I want to say about it is that, part of the reason, and I wanted to go also into, so obviously I'm jealous of beautiful women because they can have it easy, or at least somewhat easy, as far as looking for love and for getting what they want out of love. But as far as so we're somewhat jealous, and I think I wanted to mention something about expectations. It's like I probably try to tear down these women because I'm angry that I can't get one. I can't get a beautiful woman that has her shit together because I don't have my shit together. And a lot of guys, I think, are having this problem. We don't want to settle for a woman who's less than what we want because it says something about us. It's sort of admitting defeat. It's saying you didn't get your shit together enough, or you're not confident enough, you're not with it enough to get one of these beautiful women. And none of us low status men want to admit defeat. We don't want to admit that other guys either tried harder or got lucky in the gene pool and got muscles, and or had parents who raised them to be hard workers, or had the kind of go, let's get them, high energy gene of, workaholic gene. I think there is some, or maybe whether it's a gene or whether it's part of the nurturing relationship of the parent. Some people are go and some people aren't, and the ones that aren't, if we settle for a girl who's unattractive, for men, we want to be admired. That's, it's biologically, we want to think that a lot of women want our genes. We want to be, biologically, we're supposed to want to spread our genes as much as possible, which means we want as many women as possible to be attracted in us, and we want beautiful women to be attracted in us and attracted to us. And biologically, we want to dominate other men. We want to have the best looking girlfriend, and we want other men to be jealous, not just of our girlfriend, but of our skills, our position, our status. It's an ugly, this is why instincts are ugly. Our instinctual desires are not in keeping with the greater good. They're not in keeping with, being a good Christian, or being a good, other religions, or, being a good servant to God, or whatever you want to say, or being in touch with our enlightened selves. That's not what instinct tells us. Instinct tells us we've got to have the best women, the most fertile women, and the women that'll pass on the best genes to our children. And it's the same thing with men and women. We want the best. And to accept less than that is, admitting that we maybe didn't try harder, or that we weren't luckier. And, and that the world is unfair. It's sort of, or it's admitting that that it doesn't really matter how ethical you are. It's more about how powerful you are. And no man wants to admit to himself that he's not powerful, because biologically it's a crushing blow to the ego. And we're already lacking in confidence as it is. We're looking for a beautiful woman to give us confidence. And you're never going to have a beautiful woman come to you and bring you confidence in reality, because women are attracted to confidence. You have to be confident first. So, it's just, it's a struggle, for us low status males. Maybe at some point some of us settle, but a lot of us just don't want to make that compromise. And that's probably another big part of the reason why we hate these high status women, or why we harbor resentment towards them, is because these beautiful women, mostly the beautiful women, are the high status women. We resent them because they remind us of our own biological failings. Now, the ethical thing is a whole another subject, and ideally we'd all go for each other based on ethics alone, but in that case we may as well just ideally say we'd all be points of light, didn't have a body, and the physical attraction doesn't matter at all. But obviously biologically it does matter, and it's sad that most of our motivations come from our instincts and not from an enlightened higher mind. But that's the reality of the world today, and everything's going to hell because of it.